home. LeBron announced almost a month ago, June 30th, he wasn't returning to the Lakers. And then, we got the decision coming up. It was late yesterday morning. We learn he's a Sixer. What can you tell us about the final days leading up to his last decision to join Philly?
Yeah, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports CEO, detailed on his podcast with Max Kellerman, Game Over, that basically this was an agonizing decision for LeBron James, that he did not make a decision until 1 a.m. on Friday morning. Of course, it was announced later that morning around 11 a.m. Eastern or something like that. But basically, he confirmed it was the four teams that Shams had reported. It was Golden State, it was Cleveland, it was Miami, and Philadelphia. And while LeBron felt the pull to return back to Cleveland or Miami, and he certainly felt the lure of Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Golden State, it was ultimately Philadelphia that made the move for Jaylen Brown that really opened their eyes. And as Rich Paul said, it was like, oh, wow, okay. The Brown move really kind of changed how they viewed Philadelphia. And that is what kind of got LeBron thinking about Philadelphia making this basketball decision to go after a fifth championship ring. And
we forget his last 8 years in the Eastern Conference. He led whatever team he was on through the East and to the NBA Finals. You mentioned the relationship with Tyrese Maxey being a factor. What do LeBron and his camp like so much about the on-court fit with Maxey?
Yeah, so, look, if you look at some of his best success that came in Cleveland with Kyrie Irving, you could see the similarities with Tyrese Maxey, but they have an established relationship. Tyrese Maxey is also a Clutch client. They've known each other for 5 years. They've worked out together, and this is where they feel this could be a smoother transition than going to another team, because, when LeBron goes somewhere else, any other superstars on that team has to adjust and adapt to playing with LeBron James. He's like a solar system unto himself. He has his own orbit. But with Tyrese Maxey, they feel that this will be a smooth transition. They know each other very well, and they can play pick and roll. And Rich Paul even said, perhaps Nick Nurse will pull a page out of Ty Lue's book and use Maxey as a screener for LeBron James, and LeBron James will be a secondary playmaker, as Rich called him, the best secondary playmaker in the league.
And as promised, CJ Kirst back with us here on SportsCenter. Big winners in Denver. And CJ, you look at this Denver Outlaws roster coming into the season, so deep in talent. You guys win pretty decisively here. To what do you attribute going to Denver and winning as you did?
Yeah, I think it was the mentality that we had going into the weekend. When you have guys like Gavin Adler leading your defense, Sean Byrne, rookie goalie, stepping up, you feed off that momentum, and they played great, and it just helped us on the offensive end feed off that energy.
Well, CJ, the big news of the day, the big news of the summer here in sports is LeBron to Philly. Some would argue the LeBron of Lacrosse is already in Philly. In you, Tawarton award winner, all these goals, and you're one off a single season record with a lot of time left. Why do you think things have clicked for you so early in your PLL career?
Yeah, I'm playing with so many great players, on the attack line with Kieran McCardle, Michael Sowers, Silas Richmond, guys who are so impactful all over the field. And then, the offensive end, it's a group of six. And I'm just trying to find my lane out there and try to make an impact. So all credit to the guys around me.
Yeah, 29 is the number at the moment, record 30. And with the time left on the calendar, it seems more likely than not you'll get there. But these standings are compact. If we stop the count today, you'd be first in the East and all that means for the playoff push. What must happen over the next month to be in position to either get to Minnesota or skip it entirely and be playing your best lacrosse once we do get to late August and September?
We just have to keep playing our game, playing Philadelphia lacrosse. We're moving the ball well on the offensive end. We're clicking in the locker room, having a ton of fun on and off the field, and it's leading to success. And credits to all the rookies who are stepping up big for the boys, and we're able to sling the ball out there on the offensive end, find each other, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the season.
All right, you say play your best lacrosse. If we're watching you as proceedings move next week, I think it's in Columbus there or beyond that when you go up to Boston, what will that look like to the dope in a suit here watching?
We're just trying to play off each other, not try to think too much out there, feed off the highs and, take advantage of the lows and learn from that. And all credit to the coaching staff for putting us in the right spots to succeed. So, a lot of season left and, a lot of great teams who are finding success. So we'll see what the rest of the season goes.
Stephen A., you were on the air when this news broke. You've had a few hours to let it sink in and a couple decades of writing experience in Philly. How do you feel about LeBron James, the Sixer?
Well, it was shocking to say the least, because I always thought that, the love and affection that he obviously has for Cleveland and Cleveland has for him, because that's home, is not something he would dangle in their face and then go to another Eastern Conference team. That was just my belief. So I was shocked by the decision for him to go to Philadelphia, but I can't knock it. It's clearly a great move on his part. When you consider the fact that Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and Jaylen Brown is on the same team, that's your backcourt for years to come. That is set. Joel Embiid obviously is problematic because of his injury history, but you're talking about a guy like LeBron James, although 41 years of age, or approaching 42, entering his 24th season in the NBA. This is a man that played 4 or 5 positions for the Los Angeles Lakers last season. He spent some time playing the center spot. So at 6'9", 260, in the event that Joel Embiid can't go, you never know if they needed LeBron to do something like that he could do that. Plus, obviously, he's natural at a 4, natural as a 3. He's a basketball savant. He's a leader. He's a 4-time champion. And the last time he was in the Eastern Conference, he went to 8 straight NBA Finals. That's what we have to remember about LeBron James. So considering this roster, considering the fact that it's a 43-year drought by the city of brotherly love since they last won an NBA championship, knowing what's at stake, he's going to be in that bubble. It's going to be electric in the city of Philadelphia. I spoke to Charles Barkley earlier today. I spoke to Allen Iverson earlier today. Both of them are excited that he's in Philadelphia. They know what that city is about, what it can be about when they've got a potential winner on their hands. And make no mistake about it, the Philadelphia 76ers are one of the top 2 teams, if not the top team in the Eastern Conference right now, with a lot of people believing that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be in the finals in June.
Looking at this roster, though, it's absurd. And the lineup, you got a big 4, plus the guy who just finished 3rd in Rookie of the Year. Stephen A., when you look at this lineup, who is under the most pressure for this to work and work well?
I believe it's LeBron James. Make no mistake about it. I mean, Jaylen Brown is an MVP candidate who just finished averaging 28.7 points per game. Tyrese Maxey is the 4th leading scorer in the league. Tyrese Maxey was the 5th leading scorer in the league, averaging 28.3. VJ Edgecombe was a rookie, a top 3 rookie in the NBA, giving you about 16 a night with elements or moments of the spectacular. Joel Embiid is perpetually injured, so the bottom line is what pressure is going to be on him. The pressure is going to be on him to stay healthy, and no doctor on the planet has been able to figure that out, even in the age of technology. So there's a limited amount of pressure when it comes to him because it involves health as opposed to his game. But it's LeBron James because he's the basketball savant, because he's the leader, because he's the champion 4 times over, a league MVP 4 times over, because he's Mr. Box Office, because he's a big reason why people are going to be walking through the turnstiles. Not to mention the fact that if he can give you anything close to what you've seen him do over the past 22 years, that the Philadelphia 76ers, even without a healthy Joel Embiid, could still find themselves in the NBA Finals. That's how lethal of a roster they are. Of course, my New York Knicks will have something to say about that as the reigning, defending NBA champions with a level of cohesion, a cohesiveness that the Philadelphia 76ers don't have right now. We got to look at a Maxey who just learned to be the number 1 option. We got to look at a Jaylen Brown who departed from Boston because he wanted to be a number 1 option, and he's a number 2. And now you got to look at LeBron James, who spent the last year lamenting the fact that he was a number 3 option for the first time in his illustrious career. So there's only one basketball. You got to figure a way to figure it out. But nobody's looking at Jaylen Brown or Tyrese Maxey or even Nick Nurse to some degree to figure it out. They're looking at LeBron James because he's got the resume, the credentials, the cachet, all right, and the resume to pull it off. It's an expectation when it comes to him. It's a hope for everybody else. That's why the pressure lies with him.
Pleasure to have Hall of Famer Michael Wilbon join us. LeBron's presence, Wilbon, has equated to a title at every stop for him. But how long of a process, pardon the pun, is this going to be for LeBron to gel with this new set of teammates and reach that championship potential?
I've been listening to my friends and colleagues, dear friends and colleagues, and you would think it's just add water, get a championship. I mean, this is fascinating news. It's wonderful news. I can't wait to see it all play out. But this does not happen overnight, and it's unlikely to happen in year 1. Let's go back for a second to when LeBron James was at his absolute athletic height, 2010-2011 season. He's playing with Dwayne Wade. Nobody on this roster is Dwayne Wade. He's playing with Chris Bosh. Those guys played, all 3 of them, 76 games or more that season, and they did not win the championship. It took a year. Now, this roster this is incredible. Again, we all want to watch it. We can't wait to opening night. Wish we could fast forward. Joel Embiid in his last 3 years, I won't take the order of games, but it's like 38, 19, and 39. If Joel Embiid is not out there for 50-plus games and all the playoffs, they're not winning anything. So they're going to need Joel Embiid. LeBron knows that. He knows how difficult winning a championship is hard. And we've seen one of the handful of greatest players of all time with great teammates. And, it took a little time, and it's going to take some time in Philadelphia. They got the right people, the roster. They've got Nick Nurse, as I'm glad has been said, who wears the championship ring. But the notion that they're going to roll the ball out on the floor and the Sixers are going to be better than the Knicks and be better than Oklahoma City and be better than San Antonio is dumb. It's not paying attention to the reality and the history of professional basketball.
Yeah, and to your point, the defending champ Knicks are the favorites to win the East right about now. Sixers are behind them by just a bit. But look, they're not the only two teams that are worth a conversation in the East overall. So how do you see that conference playing out?
Trevor, it's interesting with the conference. I was just sitting here jotting down teams. I'm going to some glasses here off the top of my head. And after I go Knicks, Sixers, and that's the order I'm willing to start the season in. How about Detroit? I don't know that they've done a lot in this offseason, but Detroit was threatening last year, certainly beat the Knicks around in the regular season. Cleveland, Orlando, Atlanta, which has done some interesting things. Miami, which I'm just now getting into. I'm not even sure that puts them top 6, maybe. How good is Boston? Still. It's not like they gave away their entire roster, even though I can't believe they're going to be playing ahead without Jaylen Brown. Charlotte got better. Indianapolis returns Tyrese Halliburton. You've got all of that in the East. I think I just named 10 teams. And then that doesn't even deal with what we're dealing with in the West with Oklahoma City and San Antonio. So that East, you're not going to have pigeons to just pile up victories on and get to 70. Like even the Wizards and the Bulls now will not be just homecoming opponents. There are only a couple of those in the East. Milwaukee looks like one of them to me. Brooklyn looks like one of them to me. I'm not sure there's anybody else in the East you can just count in on going into their place on a given night and saying, we got this. Not while you're building your team and you're figuring out how 5 guys with high usage, all brilliant basketball players in different ways, including the most brilliant in LeBron, how they're going to fit. It takes a while. So the notion that they're going to roll the ball out and just be, oh my God, the Globetrotters, or if I'm the Knicks, speaking of chip on shoulder, how about the New York Knicks right about now after they hear this? You think they don't want to start the season? They're the champions. It took them years. It took them disappointment and heartache to play through, and they finally did it. And if they're healthy, I'm taking the Knicks. Not even necessarily to win the whole thing, but certainly to come out of the Eastern Conference.